Femme House fam, what's happening? Her Mix-a-Lot here for another episode of Femme House Radio. This is the one, the only, the singular, one name only, Samantha.
Hi, lovely to see you. Thank you for having me.
Lovely to see you as always, and thank you for being here. I want to talk about, I think you have one of the most interesting origin stories in music, and I want to hear how you went from Samantha Michelle to Samantha.
Well, we were just powwowing on this. It's been a journey. So my career started in London back in 2015. I plugged in an iPod to really age myself here at a party, and people got confused. They played a bunch of like nostalgic sing-along bangers, and then next thing I know, people were asking me to DJ, and 10 years later, here we are. And then, yeah, just recently I decided to drop the Michelle because I just felt like people were getting confused, and I identify so much as a Samantha. I come from a line of women who all have names beginning with letter S. My mom is Susan, her mom is Sarah, her mom was Shirley. And like, I don't know, Samantha just evokes a world. I'm named after Samantha and Bewitched. Obviously, there's a witchy thing going on.
Period.
And then you've obviously got Samantha from Sex and the City. She was the fun one who broke the rules and did her own thing, so that aligns. And then after, many months debate and consulting the team, I was at the opening of Pasha in New York the other night, and Rampa and Prospa were playing back to back. And I just, Rampa, Prospa, Samantha. Why not?
Period.
Why not?
Why not? What made you start DJing?
I mean, yeah, I never wanted to be a DJ. It wasn't really like that. I always had this very strong connection to music. I grew up dancing like competitively, so dance and movement was always like a part of my life. And then I was at NYU and like dating, the guy who was the front man of a rock and roll band. So I listened to music from like the 60s and 70s, like, so I would have what to talk to him about. He was kind of like Bruce Springsteen meets Iggy Pop. And my 17-year-old imagination was just like, what? And then I always say it was like this sort of trifecta between Springsteen, Tom Petty, and Bob Dylan that like brought me down the rabbit hole of like the healing magic of music. And then in tandem with that, I was a party girl in 2008 nightlife. And I used to always be the girl that would like run over to the DJ in the beanie and be like, play You Can't Hurry Love, the Phil Collins version. I'll love it, I promise, and like, what? And then, yeah, it was really through like wanting to bring nostalgia and accessibility like into spaces that like didn't really feel like they had that. That's like what fueled my career. And for the first few years, I was like really quite resistant to it. Like, because again, I just didn't want to be a DJ. I was like busy chasing other things. And then eventually I just leaned in. And then I teamed up with a girlfriend of mine and we started a female DJ duo. And our first summer together, we got to play like Glastonbury and the Secret Garden Party. And then having these like festival experiences really changed everything. And then after a few years of that, which was an amazing adventure, and, obviously like my role in working with women has been kind of completely in tandem with my DJ journey. But like I wanted to play electronic music. And I was like, there's so many buttons and there's only so much you can do if you're just playing, like 60s rare Northern soul, which is what I was doing. Like,
Yeah.
but once you start playing electronic music, you can create loops, you can isolate sounds, you can create layers. Like that's when the games begin. And my partner didn't really want to do that. So I was like, you know what? You take London. I'm going back to like my native continent. And I moved back to the States in 2018 and really started from scratch, which was a huge, scary thing to do. Because like no one in New York or in America knew who I was. I had no name. I had no relationships. I had really nothing other than like, I guess what I'd built in the UK. And I started fresh, and I kind of got my groove with the electronic music space, playing like more remixes, and then from there into like disco house, funky house, and then a few things aligned, like post pandemic, I just wanted to party again. I invested in a 4-channel controller. I fell into Afro house. like I embarked on my own spiritual journey, and then all of those things like coalesced into like, oh wait, maybe there's a way we move through this with like a real focus on intentionality, and then that changed everything.
That's crazy. So I had no idea about this, like, this part of your lore that is so rooted in nostalgia and like Dylan and Springsteen and all these different types of music being the thing that got you, that brought you to music. And you can really hear that in your sonic identity as a DJ. It is so soulful. It is so, it reminds me a lot of LP's sets in that there is a specific journey and you can hear every bit of inspiration that you've ever taken in come out on the decks. What's it feel like to know that you've sort of mastered yourself sonically in this way?
I mean, I'll just thank you. I'll take it. Thank you. That was like four compliments in one. So thank you. I think, the only thing I can really attribute it to is just like having like the courage to be myself. And so long as I stay focused on that, like it never really steers me wrong, especially with DJing. And I think that's also part of why like the duo thing didn't work for me in a long-term way, because like DJing for me is so intuitive. It's like, what do I want right now? What's the next step of the journey kind of thing? And I think, yeah, music from that era and also just nostalgia in general. Like everything about the way I decorated my apartment, to the way that I dress, to the way I shape my nails, to like, I'm a history nerd. Like, I studied history in school. I love being in Europe. I could just walk through the streets of Berlin forever and look at the old architecture. I think having a connection to what was before us, it just feels like, I don't know, getting a hug from the universe. And so I think that's just like a huge part of how I move through everything that I operate in creatively. I also, maybe it was a bit much for the interview, but like I feel like I was here before, like in another life form, and like I think I'm gonna get to come back again, God willing. So I don't know. I think just like my connection to time is a little bit fluid, you know?
For the listeners that don't know, your name Samantha after Samantha and Bewitched, and it is giving that little bit was, yes, your namesake personified.
Yeah, I mean, we've been here before. I don't know. That's just the only way I can kind of describe it. And also, I'm not super thrilled about the direction that the world is turning in. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of cool stuff happening, including women being able to enter into spaces that they couldn't be in before. But I don't love like this whole we all live on our phones and like your 2D personality is what's most important and we all have a little number next to our name that allegedly quantifies our influence and value. Like I none of that resonates with me, as I'm sure comes as no surprise. So I think like, if I'm on stage and under lights, I want to draw like the collective energy and attention to like what was, because I think there's a lot of value in like looking back, slowing down, being more like present with each other. And I think music and lyrics and poetry that like recalls that like world that was is just a great way to connect. And DJing is obviously kind of as contemporary as it gets as far as like a musical art form, so it's like that bridge between like what was and what is, and how can we bring the goodness of what was to protect these spaces that still are.
So much of your work is rooted in this word bridge, which is what sort of stood out to me in that particular answer, because I think of you as a bridge, right? Like Women of House is a bridge. And so much of your work as a DJ feeds directly into these values that you've expressed of like what was and coming together and reminding your audience of presence. Tell me more about Women of House and like what was the impetus behind the creation of this collective?
Yeah, so basically, between 2018 and a couple months ago, I guess really like a year ago, like I really built my career working with a lot of members clubs, corporate events, specifically in like the fashion and media space. And then about a year ago, year and a half ago, I was like, I'm sort of over this. Like, I don't, it's time for the next thing. And then, like, right as I was just about to sort of hang up my headphones, as it were, I was like, hang on a minute. Like, before we do that, like, is there anything we still need to pick up here? Like, have we really, like, driven the car as far as we want to go with it? And I was like, no, like the vision for me, the dream for me is the 10,000 people in nature with the strobe lights, running the jamboree, with the djembe player, with the live basses, with the trippy LEDs, with my giant eyes, like that, like we need that. And we're like, all right, cool. In order for that to happen, we need to start producing music. We need to be more in like the dance music driven spaces. So I was like, all right, let's march on over to that direction. And so the further I went into, clubs that are booking DJs who actually produce and the sort of side of the scene that plays the clout game, for lack of a better term, the more I realized there were literally like no girls. All the bookers were guys, all the club owners were guys, all the decision makers were guys, most of the people on the lineup were guys. And like whatever spot there was for a woman, like we all felt like we were in sort of competition with each other for it. And truthfully, it was the same in the corporate space, because like through the agency I worked with at the time, like you'd get one or two inquiries a month. And like the jobs would be so much money, and they're going to pick one girl, and you don't even have the chance to like speak to the client. They're looking at your assets, and they're going to make a decision. And then I would find myself starting to feel like, oh, well, what does she have that I don't have that makes her get this job that would make the huge difference to my month and my moment, like, and I just really hated the way that it was making me feel about my fellow female colleagues. And so I was like, well, I can't necessarily change this, but I can show up to it differently if I create the opportunity for that. So actually it started with Soul House, who I have a very long-standing relationship with. A few years ago, I started booking these like New York nightlife experiences around different concepts. We did a few in New York, then we did one actually here in Berlin called Witches of Disco. Then I did a bunch in LA, and I book only female DJs, and they would rotate on the hour, and it was really cute and really like it connected me with so many amazing women in the industry, and I started to suddenly feel like those feelings that I had of being in competition with these women were just like dissipating, and I was like, oh, there's really something here. And then I was like, well, what if we just, instead of building all these individual branded parties, if we just kept it simple and just like let it be this global collective called Women of House, and we didn't marry it to an individual hospitality partner, but it was something that could exist in different places and spaces. So in our sort of pilot season, I did 4 in 4 weeks, which was insane, like
As
inadvisable.
as are you,
Yes,
let's be
correct.
honest.
Yeah, so we did like one in New York, then one at Miami Music Week, then another in Brooklyn, and then another in New York. And what was cool is all of those spaces were very different. Like Miami Music Week was like a daytime pool party thing with like a hotel partner with more of an emphasis on F&B. Like the last event in New York was like in a really cool club on Lafayette, like that has like a six sound system and was more of like a late night thing. And obviously I would curate the lineups, knowing who was going to fit what space and what vibe. And I was like, well, that's awesome, because the whole point is women belong everywhere. It doesn't
Right.
need to be like just a membersy thing for there to be female DJs there. And so building it in this way that wasn't married to space allowed for it to have like just like endless possibilities. And then from the jump, I was like, oh, there's something really special here, because like there aren't that many, networks that are working to support like what women in dance music do. I mean, obviously, you guys are the pantheon, and I'm just like pinching myself that we're even getting to have this conversation. But like, women need places and spaces to play, because what good is like all of your DJ skills if you don't have the ability to show that to people? And the thing is, this industry works based on like you leverage where you've played to get your next job. That's the name of the game. You go, "Hi Bob, can I play your club?" Bob goes, "Well, where else have you played?" And you say, "I played at places A, B, C, and D." And if I can help get these women into places A, B, C, and D and get them some sexy looking content that they can go, "Look, see, I did it," for their Instagram, then that gives them what they need to move their individual careers onwards. And then it also creates like a different collective energy, because these women don't normally know each other. They're all coming in because I've grouped them together. And also, like, I look after them. Like, I don't have children, like, but not yet. I don't know. Like, I'm like a bit of like a mama hen about things. I'm like, when you play for these bros, like, it's not like that. It's like,
It's not
we'll
like
tell
that.
you your set time based on how many tickets you sell. And by the way, can you make 30 people part with $20 to watch you play at 2:30 in the morning? And you're like, bro, can you? Like, I don't do that. Like, I just don't do that. Like, the point is, everything is about, like, integrity and intentionality. And if I'm going to build something, like, making sure that my girls feel, like, taken care of and supported is, like, is really nice. And like, it just, I don't know, it just feels good. Like, we did our first global one here on Saturday in Berlin, at this amazing place called Barthausend. And one of the girls who played, she's called Daya, and she's like, younger, newer. She's from Korea. She's been in the Berlin scene for a while, like getting her going. And she said to me after her set, she's like, you have no idea what it means for me to be here. I was like, why? She's like, well, when I first moved to Berlin, I tried to come into this place and they wouldn't let me in because I guess it's like too posh. So it's such a full circle for me to like be here and get to play here. And I'm like, girl, like, I love a full circle. Like, I live for the full circles. I stare at the moon on a daily basis.
I got the
So
moon in my hand, so I feel you.
we're aligned. So I just feel like it's an opportunity to put goodness out there and to constantly be giving back. And then it has ripples within the industry. Like, for example, there's one venue in New York that I was like super keen to play, has a lot of symbolism for me. The booker was just not even opening my DMs. And then one of the girls who I'd booked a couple of times, she had played there, and I mentioned to her, oh, like, I'd love to play there. And then the conversation didn't even go any further. But then, like, 2 weeks later, the booker all of a sudden is hitting me up, being like, hey, you want to play, like, the day after tomorrow? And then she messages me saying, oh, yeah, he hit me up. I'm out of town, but I told him to call you. By the way, I also told him to call a couple of the other girls that were on that party with us. And I'm like, great. So I said to him, yeah, cool. I said, I was actually meant to go on this medicine journey in the woods, so I didn't respond straight away. I said, well, what's the timings? He says 3 to 4, but still figuring it out. Then 2 minutes later, he's like, I'll double the rate and give you 11 to 1 if you confirm right now. And I'm like, I'll make you a deal. I'll take the 11 to 1. I'll go late to my medicine journey, but I have a girl for you from 3 to 4. Deal? And that's how we booked it down. So now this guy who runs like, a mega pantheon institution in New York nightlife is like, who are these girls who like all have each other's back? And like, there's no one else that's doing that and creating that. And I wasn't even at the helm. I was just collecting the cherries there and, passing a couple along. But that's how we're going to change the industry, you know?
There's so much yummy stuff in what you just said. The two things that sort of stand out to me is this idea that you created this collective to uplift women because you were uncomfortable with how you were being pitted against women by no fault of your own, not even on your radar to beef with another woman that you've just met, but that this system, right? This system had created this idea that it's you versus her. And you said, hey, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't align with my values. That's not Samantha, right? And this other idea which is so rooted in the Femme House ethos, is these ripple effects. This idea that if one person gets into one room, the next time they go into that room, there should be at least 2, 3, 4 other people just like them with the same opportunities and resources, which is why I'm so thrilled that finally we're doing an event together.
Snaps. Snaps. I'm so here for it. One of many. One of many.
One of many, the first of many. What are you most excited? The lineup is stupid. Like, it goes so crazy. What are you most excited for what is it, July 12th, right?
July 12th at the
New York
Cramp.
City, overlooking the sky. Say it's giving women on top of the world. What's got Samantha going about that?
That's it. I mean, you stole the answer. That's it. I think, with the crown in the summer, like, it has this, like, incredible, like, it's 360 backlit by the city and the skyline, and so the visuals there, like you literally just feel like you're on top of the world. It's almost like a baby version of the Edge. And I just think like the impact that we're going to create by like filling this rooftop, getting a nice like almost like boiler room on the edge of the world where women are at the epicenter with like, New York, which is a city that obviously like represents like business and commerce and industry. And what does it look like to have like a lineup of women going, yeah, this is our part of my, well, I have it. This is our city, yeah, this is it, right? Like, this is it. And I think that that's going to be really, really cool. And then obviously, yeah, super stoked about the lineup. We have Val Fleury, we have Branquino and Fatima going back to back. We have Amanda Simpson. They're all amazing women. They're all Women of House alumni. As a couple of them are part of the Femme House Network too. Amanda's new. Again, it's always really important to me that the community is porous. This isn't like the lunch table that you're not allowed to come sit at. Like, you want to come sit? Come sit. Like, come on over, Everyone has a bit of a different style, which is really cool. Amanda's a bit more tech housey. Val's a little more, she's got her Afro warehouse thing, which is really groovy. Branquino and Fatima do this kind of like, it's almost a little more minimal and funky. And so it's always really important to me, like with Women of House, I mean, obviously it's a house music situation, but within, house music itself, each artist has her own opportunity to like do her thing, as opposed to making anyone play to my brief. Because if you've been to my sets, we leave no stone unturned. You're like, is this techno? Is this Afro house? What is it?
And the answer is always, it's all of it.
It's all of it, and it hits.
What are you, I'm not even going to ask, I was about to ask, what are you hoping the folks that show up leave with? But actually, I don't want to talk about hope. What do you know the girlies are going to leave with?
I know what the girlies are going to leave with because I see, okay, so whenever I do these like big shows, like it's the craziest thing. Like I'll stare at the audience of like thousands, and like the men, they just become a blur. Like these like black faces, I don't even see them. It's the girlies. It's like the 24-year-old girls at the Galantis show with their headdresses looking up at me, and they're just like, or it's like the girlies at Marquee who catch me as I'm on my way to the bathroom at the set, like, and they're like, oh my God, I love you. And it's like, I think because of the way I move and what I play and the way I carry myself, like, and Women of House is absolutely an extension of this. Like, I offer a representation of what it means to be, like, fully in your femme, but, like, also just in power. Like, just in control. Like, let's go. Yeah, there ain't no other girl on this stage, but, I got you, Like, and there's something about that I just think is so powerful, and it's not the easiest thing to always like wrap words around, but I see it in their eyes, and I get the DMs, and it's like the love that they're talking about. It's like, because certainly it didn't exist for me when I was an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20, this went on for a while, party girl, like there were no female DJs. If you wanted to be cool and in power in those scenes, you had to be hot and half naked, and maybe the broy DJ guy might half smile at you, and maybe you could be in his booth or close to his booth, and if he let you dance in his booth, then you had the golden ticket. Like, that. And so what did that tell you as a young girl? Like, oh, cool, if you want power, you got to be hot and half naked. Those are your keys to success. And what I tell people without saying anything is, oh, if you want power, you got to just be yourself, whatever that is, and lean into it and have a good time and be warm and be nice and smile and sing along if you like the words. Like, and it's just staging something completely different. So I think the takeaway of that, when I get to do it in community with Women of House, it's like they get to all see different versions of that. And I always book a diverse lineup so everyone gets to see some version of themselves and go, oh, like, I could be that too. And it doesn't have to be about DJing, but it's about leadership and command and control. And like, welcome to my party. I get to decide. This is what you're feeling is me through these giant speakers.
You are, in my opinion, in something of a creative renaissance. We've been in touch for at least 2 years now. You've always kept me updated on what you've got going on, and I've seen you in 2026 specifically step into your power in a way that just continually blows my mind. You just dropped the Michelle bitch. It's giving Beyonce. It's giving One Name, One Night Only. It's giving Sia. It's giving Diana. It's giving Cher. You're in a new creative era and in a new different type of power that I haven't seen yet. What's next? What you about to do, girl? I feel like you're doing. First of all, I can't hop on a Zoom call or nothing with you being anywhere but where the fuck you live at. I don't even know where you live at. You live everywhere. You stay in a different, like, the last time I talked to you like 2 days ago, you were in the south of France. Now you're sitting in Berlin. Like, it's giving everything everywhere all at once for all the girls. What's next for Samantha? And also, how does it feel to know that you're like, you're at the crux of your very power right now in this moment, and it's only up from here?
Thank you. I really, really appreciate all that. I'm so glad this is recorded because I'm going to rewatch that when times feel low.
When you're down bad, yeah, sure.
No doubt. It's a roller coaster. I mean, the last week has been insane. Like, I'm just on the other side of like 6 shows in 7 days, which is wild. And I feel so grateful to like have the breadth of shows, like to have come from doing like corporate dinner parties in the south of France to like the Kit Kat Club, and there are people having sex over my shoulder. like there's not a lot of people who can like skate those lanes, you know. Yeah. It's like doing the ice capades on razor blades. Like, it's bizarre, but I never wanted to be put in a box, you know. That was something I've always felt like my whole life, that people were like, okay, well, you can't be hot and funny, and you can't be like successful and spiritual, like, yeah. And so the way that I live my life is like, actually watch me go and be everything. So that is very much part of the intention. But next up, one of the things I'm super stoked about is just rolling out this music, like in tandem with, I think, what you're describing. Like, this year I've really like figured out like how I want to express myself with the music that I'm producing in this space. And a lot of that has to do with like just letting myself lean into harder sounds. Like, I like music that hits. I want the stab, I want the drop, I want like, and then also being clear with my vision, like not making a sound that's necessarily like going to get me booked in the places I can get booked in next week. But like, what do I want? I want the big festival. I want the headline slot. I want 10,000 people. I want the strobe lights into the fields of Arkansas. Like, I want that synth line that like, you're just like, I can't believe this is happening right now. Like, I want that hard hitting main stage music. All right, so let's make it, you know? And then also having the courage to like write my own lyrics and put my own voice on it. I mean, that just changed everything. Like, that just, you know, it forces like an authenticity and a personhood that is so needed and hard to come by in these genres, you know. And it really all came out of this song that I released towards the end of last year, Fall Deep. It was the first song I ever put my voice on. It has 4 words. It's like one vocal take chopped up. Like, I was so nervous about it. But it was the first song I ever signed to a label, which was like really exciting for me. And then I just watched people like develop a relationship to it over a few months. And I was like, oh no, there's really something here. So I think like in the background of everything that's been going on with touring and shows, like I've just really been putting in the hours in the studio time, and like every flight, I just make it as a rule. You get on a plane, you open a new Ableton project. Like, because you'll learn something new. You're not connected to the Wi-Fi. You can't get lost in Splice. You'll spend an hour finessing with like a serum thing, or like you'll go, what does actually a saturator do? I don't know. Let's test it out on all. Like, we're here for 7 hours. Let's see, you know, like. And so I think really committing to the production has been the thing that's given me so much confidence. Also, it's so hard to learn. Like, God, I had Ableton on my computer for like 2 years, and I'd open it. I'm like, I don't like gray. Like, this is what? I could never do math. I was bad at science. You know?
I don't like gray is
Don't like
so real.
I don't like gray. I'm a shades of beige girl. Like I'm not. I actually the shirt is kind of in the gray. It's the faded black. I'm not a gray girl. So it was a real struggle for me. But what's amazing with it, and I hope a takeaway from this for whoever's listening is like if you stick with it, once you get over a few hurdles, like you can make leaps and strides. Like, hello, when I started, I was like, but what's MIDI though? Like, what does it stand for? I don't like it. But once you learn some of the basics, and I obviously still have so much more to learn myself, like you're able to make these huge leaps, which is really inspiring. So I'm stoked to like be rolling out the music over the next 6 months and into next year. I've been playing it out all over Berlin all weekend. I went on like a 3-hour walk in the cemetery just opposite Saturday morning, Sunday morning, like after my 2 back-to-back gigs, and like just listened to it and hung out with the souls of dead people and just felt like so aligned with just like gratefulness for my whole journey in music, and grateful that it's led me to this place where I can make it myself and give it its direction, and that like people can then have a relationship with my music that's separate from me being in the space. Like that's so exciting. Like I was checking out this hotel in France, and as I'm like zipping the suitcase, like the lady who runs it is like, by the way, like I listened to Fall Deep this morning. I really like it. And you're like, thanks, like how cute. Like I'm gonna float off and go to Germany now, but you get to have that.
What conversation would you have with young Samantha, maybe 17-year-old Samantha who has stars in her eyes because her boyfriend was in a rock band or whatever the fuck?
I mean,
Like,
boyfriend is being generous. This is like a 3-week thing, but it's pretty impactful.
oh, girl, when you 17, the 3-week girls, those be
You're
the,
like, that's it.
that's a lifetime.
Yeah,
Yes, when you
yeah.
17, you have no idea. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's the first boy that ever looked at you. Like, please.
It was an impactful one.
What do
Um,
you say to Samantha? Not only to get her here, but to sort of honor everything that she did to get you here.
I mean, she comes with me always. The back, like my phone screensaver is me dressed as Tinkerbell at 4 years old. Because my connection to emerald green is continues, and like I also have like the little slippers on with the buckle, which look like basically half the pair of high heels I own today. And it just reminds me that like this is like I am on the path that I was always meant to be on, even though, like as you can imagine, like being a teenager was very difficult for me. Like I was a weirdo and I didn't fit in, and I grew up in like, a very provincially minded, aka narrow minded community of people who all dress the same, look the same, walk the same, talk the same. Their parents did 3 or 4 jobs. Like, they all went to the same summer camp, the same university, and guess what? Now they're all married to each other and have babies with each other. Like,
Yeah.
and I just was like, what do you mean? The world is so big. Why would you want to do that? So it was really, really hard for me. It was really hard for me, and I just don't think even 17-year-old Samantha, like, she would be tripping balls if she knew, like, this is what 36, like, got to look like. Like, I would have never, ever believed it. So I keep her with me at all times, and I just, if I could go back in time and talk to her, I would just tell her to hold on. I would just say, just hold the fuck on. You have no idea what is coming and how wonderful it is. And to, like, just let God take care of the timing. And that's something I still remind myself of, every day, because I'm like, whoa, why aren't they getting back to me? Why isn't this happening yet? Like, I want everything 5 years ago. But the truth is, like, you're going to get the stages that are right for you when you're ready to dominate them. I am an infinitely better DJ now than I was even 2 years ago. Why? Because you know what? Last night I get to the gig and I have never seen this equipment before. Did you know CDJ 700s existed? I didn't. Like, what? What even is that? Like, huh? And then you're like, and I'm with a friend of mine who's also a DJ, and she's like, well, what are you going to do? Like, do you have a pre-recorded thing planned? I'm like, no, 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 no. Just stand there and play something pre-recorded. I'd rather slit my wrist and bleed out slowly, like, hard pass. But no, 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 I have nothing planned. She's like, well, what? And I'm like, it's gonna be fine. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, this is why I'm great because I'm gonna jump on and I'm gonna smash it. And then the next time I encounter something intimidating, I'm gonna look back on the Rolodex of the 50 experiences like this I could reference in this conversation, and like let it build your confidence, you know? So everything comes in the right timing, even though we all want it all faster. And I think, you know, to echo the message I got from the 50 million tombstones I passed by on my walk yesterday, like, just slow down and smile, you know? Like, none, like, those dead people, like, they do not wish that they worried more or that they stressed more or that they kept better office hours. They just wanted to, like, stare at the sun and dance and kiss loved ones and cuddle sexy people and, like, just try and do as much of that as you can because everything's coming. It doesn't have to be so hard along the way, you know?
Wise words from the goodest witch you'll ever talk to in your life. The one, the only, the singular, one name only, Samantha. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I've loved every minute of this. Thank you so much for doing everything that you do for our community, and I can't wait to make magic with you.
Women in House, The Crown. It's free if you can, like, if you look at the lineup and you listen to this conversation and you know anything about either of us and all the girls that are going to be in the room. It's the fact that it's free. It's nuts. The Crown, New York City, July 12th. We'll see you there.